What makes Jarabacoa so special? I'll be going over that in this video, so let's get started. Hey, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. My name's Nicole Abreu, aka Nikki, and if you've been here a bit, you already know me and my family have recently moved to Dominican Republic, and we currently live in Jarabacoa. And today I want to take you a little bit deeper into why. From the scenery to the community and everything in between, I'm sharing what makes this part of Dominican Republic so special, and why I believe it's worth checking out if you are visiting. First, let's talk about the location. The city of Jarabacoa is located in the central mountain range of Dominican Republic, at the heart of the country, and it sits up in the mountains at about 500 meters above sea level. Thanks to that elevation, the weather here has this peaceful and almost dreamy feeling. I've even heard that it's often called the city of eternal spring, and honestly, I can see how that fits. Just to give you an idea, the average temperature is about 72 degrees year-round, and usually around the months of December to February, mornings and nights are cooler. The landscape is green, the air feels clean, and instead of city noise, you get all that nature in the background. So instead of that heavy tropical heat, you get this fresh, cool mountain air that feels refreshing every time you step outside. But during the summer, it does get very hot, so just keep that in mind. Jarabacoa is known for its farms. This area grows strawberries, coffee, peppers, flowers, and the soil here is so fertile that it's one of those places where everything just thrives. And a cool little fact about the name Jarabacoa, it's actually from the Taino language, which means or translates to land of many waters. And when you see all of the rivers and streams that run through it, it makes complete sense. And another bonus when it comes to the location of Jarabacoa is that even though we're up in the mountains, we're not completely disconnected. Santiago is only about a 40-45 minute drive away, so if we ever need that city life, let's say we need to go shopping, restaurants, or even just running errands, it is a pretty easy drive to take. Alright, so now let's talk about the scenery. Because it's not just about living in the mountains, it's about what those mountains give you. Here you get rolling green hills instead of flat resort lands, and I believe it's such a beautiful side of Dominican Republic that not many get to experience. Then there's rivers, and there's three major ones that run through this region, one of them being Yaque del Norte, which is actually the longest one here in the country. There's also Jimenoa and Baiguate. So wherever you go, you'll probably be hearing a soft sound of running water somewhere nearby. And of course, we can't forget the waterfalls and natural pools that you'll be able to find scattered all over. And it's one of the reasons why people consider Jarabacoa to be the go-to spot for ecotourism here in Dominican Republic. When you're here, you automatically get that sense of calm, but also of curiosity. With that being said, it is very peaceful, but you also get that sense that you want to go out and explore what's around. And even in the little everyday things like eating, relaxing, or running errands, the scenery kind of carries you. Which actually brings me to something that I believe is very special about Jarabacoa, and that's how restaurants here take such good advantage of the landscape. So the next thing we'll be talking about is dining and landscape and how restaurants here just elevate the experience. So when you think of food, you probably just think about what you eat, but here in Jarabacoa, the where you eat plays a big part. And let me tell you why as I highlight this one restaurant called El Balcón. It really thrives with the concept of using the landscape to elevate the dining moment. Imagine sitting on a terrace, mountains stretching out in front of you, a cool breeze, and perhaps even a mist from the river valleys. El Balcón is an example of how to use that perfectly, with open-air seating and balconies with beautiful mountain views. And something I want you to consider, when a restaurant leverages their setting like that, the meal becomes more than just food and it becomes memory. Also, because Jarabacoa's farms produce so much coffee, strawberries, fresh vegetables, many restaurants use super fresh local ingredients, which makes the food taste that much more vibrant. For example, coffee grown locally, fruit picked in nearby hills, produce from mountain farms. So when you dine, you're not just eating well, but you're also getting a full-on experience. And when you can combine the flavor of the food and the scenery, there's honestly just nothing better than that. That enhances the connection for your family, and you'll remember that meal not just for the taste, but also because of where you were, what you saw, and how you felt. Now let's move on to activities. If you love being outdoors, this is where Jarabacoa really shines. Think waterfalls, rivers, hiking trails. It's the kind of place that gives you adventure and calm all in one, and it just depends on what you're in the mood for. When people think of Jarabacoa, they usually picture waterfalls, and for a good reason. There's Cerro Jimenoa, where the landscape feels wild and pretty cinematic. You've got hanging bridges, rocky paths, and that deep echoing sound of rushing water. Then there's Cerro Guayguate, which is another favorite. The trail leading up to it is surrounded by forests, and when you finally get there, it opens up to this natural pool where you can either take a swim or just sit back and relax. Now, if you're into more adventure, Jarabacoa is full of it. You can do things like go water rafting down the Yaque del Norte River. There's also horseback riding through rivers, mountains. There's mountain biking, paragliding, zip lining, mudding, and you can also try out sports like paddleball and golf. So whether you're the let's go all in type or if you're just the let's take it slow and explore, there's something here for you. What makes it even better is that Jarabacoa is one of the main hubs for eco and adventure tourism here in Dominican Republic. It's not your typical lay by the pool destination, but it is more raw, and I do believe that's one of the things that makes it that much more special. And one of the best parts is that you can tailor your experience. If you have younger kids, there are Airbnbs here with a ton of outdoor space, and there's also calmer trails, easier routes to take if you are planning on doing any type of adventure. Also, I have heard of this farm here. I haven't gone personally, but I have heard that it's really nice to take kids and they can pet animals and do different type of activities. I will be checking this out soon, and I'll let you know how it goes. And if you're traveling with teens or if you just want more adventure, there are many ways to do that too. That flexibility makes Jarabacoa such a special spot for families. Now let's talk a little bit about what gives Jarabacoa its heart, which is the people, the lifestyle, and the land itself. What really stands out here and what most people remember is the kindness of the people. It's really special the way that locals connect with one another, but also with the visitors. It doesn't feel forced or overly touristy, but it honestly feels very genuine. Everyone seems to know someone who will either lend a hand or even offer you a plate of food, and that sense of community runs deep. Just in case you're not used to it, I will let you know that life moves at a slower pace here, and it's in the best way possible. It allows people to stop and talk, take their time, and there's this shared appreciation for the land and for each other. That's something that makes Jarabacoa feel different. You don't just visit, you also feel a part of it while you are here. And if you do plan a trip, I really recommend doing something that lets you experience that side of it. Whether that's a coffee tour, a farm visit, or just checking out local markets, it gives your trip so much more meaning, and it also gives you the chance to see why this place is loved by everyone who passes through. Another thing I think is really worth talking about is how much growth is happening here in Jarabacoa. Even though it still has that peaceful small town feel, you can definitely sense that this town is evolving. And over the last few years, you can see some noticeable increase in apartment projects, gated communities, and even vacation rentals. Many of them designed to blend into the natural surroundings while also offering a more modern lifestyle. You're also seeing bigger brands and supermarkets starting to move in, and that says a lot about where this town is heading. It's becoming more accessible and convenient for families that want to live here long term, but it still managed to keep the charm that makes Jarabacoa feel so special. What's exciting about this growth is that it's opening up opportunities, whether that's in real estate, small businesses, or tourism. More visitors are coming, more people are choosing to stay, and that creates the opportunity for new cafes to open, new restaurants, eco lodges, wellness retreats, and family-friendly activities. But what I personally love is that even with all this development, the community here seems to do it in a way that respects the environment and also the local lifestyle. So it's not losing its identity, but it's growing into a version that gives people more options while also staying true to what makes it unique. So whether you're thinking of visiting, investing, or moving here one day, Jarabacoa is definitely a place to keep an eye on. Before I wrap this up, I want to give you a couple of tips that should help you get the most out of your trip to Jarabacoa, and hopefully also help you avoid any mistakes that have been made. First off, getting here is pretty straightforward. Jarabacoa sits in the heart of Dominican Republic's central mountain range in La Vega province. It's an easy drive from any major city. You'll definitely want a reliable car, or even better, a local guide who knows the roads and the viewpoints that are worth stopping for. Next, let's talk about the weather, because this actually catches people off guard. Nights here can get a lot cooler than what you would expect for the Caribbean. So even if you're used to tropical weather, I would highly recommend packing a light jacket or even a sweater, especially if you're planning on visiting during the cooler months. Temperatures have been known to drop as low as 44 degrees during those rare chilly nights. But the good news is the temperature here stays stays mild and comfortable throughout most of the year. Though keep in mind that the rainy season can affect trails and also any outdoor plans. When it comes to activities, the best thing to do is think balance. Plan your day around your family's energy level. One day can be full of adventure and exploring. The next day could be relaxing and enjoying some good food. Jarabacoa gives you the space to enjoy both. For dining, I definitely recommend picking restaurants that make the view part of the experience. A place like El Balcón, for example, where you're not just eating some amazing food, but you're also able to experience the beautiful landscape in the background. And don't forget your camera, because those views deserve to be remembered. Also, a little reminder to connect with nature respectfully. Jarabacoa is still very connected to its natural roots, and it hasn't been overly developed or commercialized, and that's part of the charm. So if you can, hire local guides, support small businesses, and be mindful of the environment. If you like this video and want to see more like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.